taking at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always money to be made on the road. I mean, I think, last year maybe it's a question of, maybe people got a little overambitious in the size of the venues that they were going to play. But you know, if you're a little conservative, on the size of the venue that you're booking, and you do it so, you're kind of guaranteed to sell out. Maybe you miss out on a little bit of the upside, but then you don't, get hit with the if you have a half full arena, then I think it's pretty doable. I mean, but certainly on the top end, I'm putting together our list of the top earning musicians for the year, and it's going to be part of our celebrity package. It's a whole issue devoted to music and entertainment and such. And I mean, I'm just looking at. I mean, U2 just had. They're about to. I think they just passed the Rolling Stones for the most lucrative tour ever. And when it's all said and done, they will have grossed something like $700 million. Bon Jovi, who I interviewed for a story for the package, he's going to be over. I mean, they grossed I think 200 or 300 million on their last tour, and he's going to take home over $100 million this year. I mean, talking to Bon Jovi's touring people, and they're really focused on efficiency, and they talk a lot about doing multiple shows in the same city in a row, so there's only one load in and one load out. I mean, I guess it's a little different, independent musicians versus Bon Jovi, and maybe you're not going to be able to do 3 shows in the metal side, but little things like that, and not having too many days off in between tours, and that sort of thing. I think there's definitely a focus on efficiency and that sort of thing. So I think certainly if you do your tour smart and you don't get overly ambitious, it's always going to be a tremendously profitable enterprise.
Yeah, no, this is a great point you bring up, because you're right that the independent musician isn't going to be booking gigs at massive venues, but and we're SonicTribe's trying to help out in this respect. We've got a big launch coming up, hopefully that will help touring musicians target market. So instead of just saying, hey, we're going to go West Coast, that's not. It's great to get your name out there, but the musicians that I'm seeing that are doing quite well for themselves are finding, due to data, just really doing their diligence as a business person, saying, where am I selling? Okay, that's where I'm going to go play, and play the areas around there. Say they're doing great in Chicago, doesn't mean that they're going to be doing really well in Buffalo.
Right.
So I think it's good that we can look at the people that are doing really well and seeing how they're using efficiency in their touring schedules, and then refocusing what it means to be a successful independent musician. At least, trying to instill smart business into the independent musician model. Maybe not such a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think this notion that business is sort of becoming a prerequisite for the independent musician. I mean, I think it's a great thing, because sort of like we were talking about earlier, if you know how to handle your own business, then nobody can screw you over.
That's right. That's right. No, it's very true. It's very true. I want to get back a little to you're writing your interest in this field. And this is a tough question, but perhaps it's a good place to sort of wrap up the interview, give you some room to really expand upon what might be coming next for the music industry. I know it's a tough call, but if someone said to you, hey Zach, we need a good perspective on where music industry is going to be in the next 5 years, just 5 years, maybe 10 if you want to go out that far. But what's your perspective? What do you think is going to change?
I mean, 5 years, I don't know. I think in 5 years we'll still have some kind of traditional label structure. But I mean, just kind of looking at the long term of it, and kind of trends, and what I've seen in my few years reporting. I mean, I know a lot's been made of it, but I think everything is headed towards the cloud. I think that's I think that's a really sensible place. It's convenient. It makes sense. I think that the question is, how do you monetize it in a way that's beneficial, to the artist and to the songwriter, and you have to obviously have some kind of form of payment for distribution on there, but I don't think that Sound Exchange revenues are going to quite cut it. I don't think it makes I don't think that's going to be enough to sustain a music industry. I think there has to be a more efficient way of compensating everybody involved. For streaming music or for cloud lockers or for that kind of thing. And I have no idea how it's going to shake out. I mean, yeah. All I can say is, in my opinion, the future, maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line, it'll be in the cloud, but what the specific monetary arrangement is, I have no idea. And I think the tricky part is that the labels still control so much. They're very hesitant to give up any amount of their revenue stream. But I think you're seeing, especially with Warner, I know they're doing a lot of 360 deals. I think pretty much all the new artists they sign are 360 deals. So yeah. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing for independent musicians? I mean, you could argue that it's actually a bad thing, yeah. But maybe to get a little bit of slice of some of the other parts of a musician's income stream, and maybe they'll lighten up on the recorded music part. I mean, I think I don't know. I think there will always be some kind of official arbiter of music, and of which artists are going to be. I think there will always be some kind of CD or some kind of hard product that that gets sold. Maybe it won't be at Best Buy. Maybe it'll just be 10 different albums at Starbucks that you buy. I don't know. I mean, that kind of thing. So there will always be somebody kind of being an arbiter of taste and in music that way. But whether it's record labels or Starbucks or McDonald's, I mean, 10 or 20 years from now, who knows?
Yeah, that's a good perspective, though. I mean, I think it's so tough. I know it's a tough question to try to answer because it's changing so quickly. I think your perspective on cloud, yeah, it's moving to the cloud, and the monetization of that, it's hard to. I mean, there's some subscription services that they're saying, well, they're looking to they're taking some traction, but not in the States.
Right.
Now, but they're not taking traction in the States because they're not being allowed into the States. So it's sort of,
right.
Come on. However, yeah, I think it's moving to the cloud. Really hard to say how it's going to monetize. I don't know either. I mean, but that's what's good is speaking with someone like you that's very clearly becoming one of the experts in this field, and you're saying, not really sure. Makes me as a musician feel a little bit better, knowing that, okay, I'm not the only one out there that's a little bit, how is this all playing out? But that we can look at the industry and say, this is what we do know is making money, or that it's helping certain acts, and following those routes, being a better business person, more efficient in your touring schedules, realizing that the CD is not the only route to bringing in money. Maybe that's what we can learn at this point.
Right.
But we didn't get as much into the books as I wanted to, but I'm hoping certainly in a short time you'll come back, have a little bit of an interview with us, maybe catch up a bit upon the industry as it changes, especially Warner. I'm curious to see how this works out.
Me too. I mean, they said that they're only going to sell it as a whole unit, so I don't know. I mean, I wonder if they won't sell it at all.
I can't imagine. What are they valuing it at this point?
Well, I think it depends on. I mean, I think it's more than they paid for it. It's more than Edgar Brothman and his investors paid for it, I think. Yeah. But it's I want to say $3 billion, but I think there's also a lot of debt involved, and
I don't know. It's going to be messy, probably. I don't know if it's going to be as messy as EMI,
right?
But it's still, gosh, it just looks. It's on for me, someone that's not a big fan of the majors, to look at this and say, gosh, it's going to be messy. There's a lot of people that are going to be adversely affected by that, and a lot of them are hardworking industry insiders that are studio guys and things like this. So keeping my fingers crossed that they make a smooth transition, put it that way. And I think your head's in the same place.
Me too. Yeah.
But look, I just want to thank you again for coming out, talking with SonicTribe about the industry, and hope that you'll come back. Maybe a little bit right after we figure out what's going on with Warner, and give us a little bit more of that inside information that you seem to have.
Sure thing. Anytime you want.
Okay. Well, hey, Zach, take care.
You
Thanks.
too, Chris.
Bye.
Okay.